Hey, what's good, people? This your boy Cincy, aka Mr. Good Vibes, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year, and my prayer is that every single thing that your heart desires this year, you shall achieve in the mighty name of Jesus. Now, with that being said, today we're just going to be diving straight into it, man. As you guys know, the market has started not with the best kind of way we expected in 2025. As a matter of fact, in my last video, I spoke about why I do not personally trust this rally and some of the things that I was saying that was a little bit concerning for me and why I wasn't going to jump into the market yet, and I was going to remain on the sideline instead of taking that risk of losing some money. Now, I also spoke about the new development that I made to my strategy, whereby I kind of take into account more of a top-down analysis, and I'm looking at things from a weekly time chart to understand the general trend, and from there we go to the daily to see where our potential entry points would be and if this potential or this particular trade or instrument is currently worth taking. Now, today I'm going to be diving into the charts. I'm going to be going through those procedures, going through those strategies, and how those kind of influence my trade in this particular market. So, for those of us who know, when it comes to trading the US market, there are three major indexes which I typically consider, and they are the SPX 500, the US 30, and the NAS 100. Yeah, so those numbers actually do mean something. So the SPX 500 literally means the top 500 companies which reside in the US, and we use this particular index to just kind of understand where we think the general direction of the US market is going to be going in the future. We also use the NASDAQ 100, which is related to all the top tech companies in the US, such as the Microsofts, Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix. You already know the gist. And we take that index as well to understand what the trend of these top companies are doing, because these companies now are some of the companies that are driving the US economy forward. So it's very, very important that we pay attention to this index to understand the general trend. And the third one is the US 30, which is the top 30 industrial or manufacturing companies that you all know in the US, such as your Boeing, your Home Depots. We also have the banks involved in this, like your JP Morgan, Bank of America, and you also have companies like Caterpillar and Disney involved in this US 30 or Dow Jones industrial index. So it's very, very important that we look into these three indexes. And today I'm going to start with the SPX and what I'm generally looking at on my screen and how I interpret these indexes to kind of give me an idea of what the future direction of the US market will be. So for those of you who are just joining me for the first time, I typically just come to my chart and look for a couple of things, and it's my primary indicators, and which is this S sign and this red arrow. So this S sign and this red arrow typically just tells me that the general direction of the market is going to be going down. So you can see we got this signal on the 30th of December, which was this Monday, and that was already giving us an idea that there's a chance that the market could continue dropping to the downside. So you can see during that relief rally, which we got prior to that FOMC candle. So this is the FOMC candle that occurred when the Fed decided not to cut as many rates as we expected for the year 2025. So we had that unexpected huge drop, found support on this yellow line, and you can see the price pretty much just kind of like bounces off that support, went back and found resistance at this channel, or what I call my buy channel in this case, and I will explain what this means. And you can see it became a resistance, and it just rolled over from there, went below my final baseline, and currently now back to that initial support that we saw at the FOMC. So it's been a little bit of down move, so that's pretty much kind of like a sideways movement that has been going on in the market. So for me, the best way to trade a market like this is to understand what is the general trend saying. How do you perceive this trend? So it's best for you to understand what your technical indicators are saying. So what I did was I developed a spreadsheet, and on my spreadsheet I pretty much took all my indicators that you see, and I'll show you this. And when I mean all my indicators, I'm talking about these indicators that you see on this screen. You can see there's quite a few of them at the bottom. So I took all these indicators and I tried to interpret them and see if they are telling me if it's a buy or if it's a sell, right? So I line them up and I do it for both daily and weekly. So you can see the D here represents daily and the W here represents weekly. And I created like some kind of a grouping X and O. So the green color means buy signal and the O color means sell signal. Right, like I said, I got this idea from the Squid Game. If you watch my last video, I explained the concept and how I tied this back to the Squid Game movie. So I'm not going to explain that on this video. But like I said, I typically just try to see these indicators and see, are they telling me to buy or are they telling me to sell? Or again, are they giving me a bullish signal or are they giving me a bearish signal? If it's a bearish signal, I'll simply just mark it as 1. And if it's bullish, then I'll give it 1. So the first one is the ASGMA. And I mark this as 1 for a sell. And if we go back to my chart, and the reason why I did that was because I was getting a sell signal. So that was definitely what marking 1. And also for my SSL, I was getting a down arrow, which was also indicating a sell. So like I said, during the during the upside move over the holidays, you can see we had the B sign and the green arrow. And if that was the case, I would have given the green side 1 and 1 for the ASGMA and the SSL. So you can see the ASGMA for the daily and the SSL scored a 1 and a 1. So in order not to just go through the entire thing, I'm going to scroll down real quick and show you guys that previously last week, this was what I got. You know, I was getting a 10 total buy signal and 12 total sell signals. But you can see as of today, when I did my updates, now I'm seeing 14 sell signals and I'm seeing 9 buy signals, which means the sell signals are beginning to intensify. And it's very, very important that you understand what this means exactly to the market. So like I said, so now let me dive back into my explanation again. So like I said, the Ichimoku, I gave it a 1 and a 1, and the reason why I give it a 1 and a 1 is because I find the Ichimoku inside of the cloud, and that is just telling me that's more of a neutral move. I literally want to see the price either above the Ichimoku or below the Ichimoku. If it's above the Ichimoku, then that means that it's a buy signal, but if it's below the Ichimoku, then that means it's a sell signal. But since it's inside the Ichimoku cloud, I decided to give it a 1 and a 1 on the daily chart. So you can see we're looking at the daily chart here. If it was a weekly chart, I would simply click on this weekly chart. So for daily chart, I simply mean this chart represents today's candle. So you can see each one of these candle represents different dates. So you can see we've gone from, this is the candle on Monday, this is Tuesday's candle, and this is Thursday. So the reason why Wednesday is missing because Wednesday was the first and that was a public holiday. So today we have the second and we have tomorrow's candle, which is already developing, and because this is the futures chart. So you can see the 3rd of January is already forming for this candle. Now if it was a weekly chart, you know what will happen is each one of these candles will represent 1 week, which means from Monday to Friday. So you can see again for the daily, like I was saying, for the SM, for the baseline, again for the baseline, I give it a 1 for baseline, which is a sell, and that simply means because my prices are below my baseline. So you can see this is my baseline, this is yellow, and these two red lines are all my baseline, but you can see the current price is below both baseline, and that indicates a sell. If this price was above the baseline, like you see in this case, then that will indicate more of a buy. So which is exactly the reason why I have allocated a 1 to the sell side for my baseline on the daily. Now the SMI 1 and SMI 2, there are 2 different interpretations which we typically see on this SMI indicator on the daily charts, and I will explain it to you real quick. And you can see I have marked it 1 for the sell and 1 for the buy, and that is because if I was to go and look at my indicators below, the SMI indicator is this one, and you can see there are 2 things you have to understand here. We have a true line cross, which means a green and a red. Whenever the red is above the green, that is a buy signal. But if the green is above the red, that will be more of a sell signal. We also have 3 different lines. We have the overbought line, we have the zero line, and we have the oversold line. So what you'll notice is that the signal lines are beginning to go into the zero part. Even though this is a sell signal, we are beginning to go into the zero part. So you can see now this is giving me a sell for the being below the zero, and also a sell for the crossover. So I need to actually come down to my charts here, my Excel spreadsheet here, and actually move this one, give it one, and move this one back to a sell, because we're getting two sell signals, because you can see again that the signal line is beginning to go below zero, which is more of a sell. If the signal line is above zero, as we see in some of these cases, then that'll be more of a buy. And if you also see a red above the green crossover, that's also a sell. If you see a green above the red, then that's going to be a buy. But if you see a red above the green, that'll be more of a sell. So you can see we have those two factors in there, which is why I've marked the SPX 500 for the SMI 1 and 2 a sell and a sell. Now the DD index is this next index, which you see it's a different index, and it's more of a one line cross. You can see it's a zero line and one line, so you can see the signal line whenever it's below or on the negative side, that will be more of a sell. But if the signal was above the zero line or in the positive side, then that will be more of a buy. So you can see, because we are getting a negative signal for the DD, that was why I literally just went ahead and marked the DD as a sell in this case. Now the MACD also have two interpretations to it, which I would explain. And let's take a look at the MACD. So the MACD is the next one right below the DD. So you can see this is the MACD, and you can see we have two things you need to understand. Whenever it's a red color, that's a sell, and whenever it's green, that's a buy. And if it's below the zero line, then that means that even though you can get a buy signal, but in a bear territory, right, or in a bearish or a sell territory. So you can see we are getting a sell signal here, because we've gone from a green, which was a buy, and back to a red color, which is more of a sell. That is already telling me that this is a sell signal, so that's one. And the fact that it's below the zero line, that is another sell signal, which is telling me it's in the bear territory, which is why I came here and I marked my MACD as 1. And as a matter of fact, this one needs to actually go back, and we need to mark this one as 1 as well, because that is definitely two bearish signals that I'm seeing now. The TSI is the next one, which is below this indicator, and I'll show you real quick. So you can see the TSI, very simple. If it's on the negative side, then that is a bearish or a sell signal. If it's on the positive, then that will be more of a buy or a bull signal. So the fact that this is negative, we are currently looking at a bear signal, and which is why if you come down to my Excel spreadsheet, I have marked the TSI as bearish now. So that's definitely bearish for SPX 500. So you can see that is now giving me a bearish signal. So if I go back again and look at my ASH, you can see my ASH is very, very simple. It's a two-line cross. If the red is above the green, then that is a sell or bearish signal. But if the green was above the red, then that would be more of a buy signal. So because this is a bearish signal, I went ahead again and SH put that on the bearish side. So you can see the number of bearishness for the daily is pretty much increasing, and you can see we only have one bullish signal on the daily. So you can see how crazy the market is looking just by my interpretation of my analysis. Now I finished the daily. Now let me switch to the weekly so that you guys can see. I simply just come here and I click on weekly. I click on the weekly, and you can see if you click on the weekly and we zoom into the weekly, the first thing you would see is I have my sell signal and my downward arrow, which is indicating a sell. So I simply come here and I mark both my ASGMA and my SSL as both sells. Now remember what I said about the Ichimoku? As long as the price is above the Ichimoku, it's still going to be a buy signal or bull signal. Now if it's below the Ichimoku, then it's definitely going to be more of a sell signal or a bear signal. So the fact that it's above, I decided to give the Ichimoku 1. So you can see both the Ichimoku weekly and the Ichimoku daily, I put 1 and 1 for the SPX 500. Right now the baseline, again, pretty simple. If the price is below the baseline, so you can see the price is below my 3 baseline, that is a sell signal or a bearish signal. But if this price was above, like you see right here, that would be more of a bullish signal. But so that is why on my Excel sheet I marked this as 1 for my baseline weekly. Now my SMI 1 and 2, as I explained before, it's always 2 interpretations that we expect on the SMI, and this is below the chart, and which is literally the first one that we're going to take a look at. And if you go and look at it, so you can see we have a red above the green, which is a bearish signal or a sell signal, but it's still on the positive side as this is the zero line. So you can see we are still on the bullish side of things on the weekly chart for the SPX 500, which is why when you go to my Excel sheet, I marked this as one for the bull signal and one for the bear signal. So I give it a 1 and 1. Now for the DD is a little bit, it's different. Like I explained it before, it's a zero line, and you can see that the current DD is actually on the negative side, and which is pretty much telling me that this is a bear signal or a sell signal, which is why I also went ahead and marked the DD signal as 1 for the sell signal. So you can see again, the X or the green color is buy, and the O or red color is a sell signal. So I marked DD as a sell signal. The MACD on the weekly 1 and 2, again, 2 interpretations is expected on the MACD. So if you open the MACD, if we go from a green to a red, then that is a sell. But you can see we also have the zero line. The signal is above the zero line, but that is still a buy territory. So we have a 1 and a 1 in this case, which is why on the MACD I have marked it as 1 and 1. So I gave 1 a buy and I gave 1 a sell. Now for the TSI, again, we take a look at the TSI. We expand. Sorry about that. That's not the TSI. We expand for the TSI. You can see the signal line is on the positive side, which is still telling me this is a buy territory or buy signal. If it was on the negative side, then that would be more of a sell. So we went ahead again and scored the TSI 1 for positive side or buy signal. I hope I'm communicating. This is making sense. And the ASH, pretty much very simple. It's the last one, and it's simple again. If the green is above the red, that will be more of a sell, so a buy signal. But if the red is above the green, then that will be more of a sell signal. So because this is currently a buy signal, I went ahead and marked that as 1. So you can see the total of everything came down to be 16 buy signals or 16 bullish signals and 17 sell signals or 17 bearish signals, which is telling me that the market is super bearish or is showing a lot of bearish indicators at this time. Again, this is not a recommendation for you to buy, sell, or trying to throw the baby and the bathwater out of the window. This is just simply what my interpretation is saying. As I said last week, I was getting more of an even number between two of them, but as of today, I'm seeing that the SPX 500, which is one of the major indexes that gives me an idea of what the direction of the US market will be going, is beginning to intensify its sell-off signals. And the same thing can be said about the NAS 100. You can see for the NAS 100, it was pretty, actually this one was actually a bullish signal as of last week or Monday when I checked it, as I have 12 to 10 when it comes to 12 bullish or buy signals, and I had 10 sell signals or 10 bearish signals. But as of today, you can see the sell-off signal has taken over and intensified to 14 sell signals and just 8 buy signals. And the US 30, right from day one, we've always known that this has been a sell signal, as we had 9 bullish or buy signals against 14 sell or bearish signals. And currently today, you can see that the intensity of the sell-off tool has increased, as now we have 16 sell signals with respect to just 6 buy signals that we see on this instrument for the US 30. So again, it's very, very important that we understand what is going on in the market. The market is currently showing some signs of weakness, and we must definitely respect these signs that we see. The US 30, again, you can see, so that way you guys don't just think I'm just blabbing. I just want to show you guys so you can see the signal. So the US 30 is currently still showing a buy for the primary indicators and the green arrow, but again, we will mark that as good. But again, like I said, by the time I can see, I already marked it as 1. Let me see. Oh, look at that. So the US 30, so this one is supposed to be, so we have a buy signal and we have a green arrow to the upside, so we can easily come here and maybe make those adjustments right there. This one should be 1 right there. So you can see, even though we could give this 1 to the SSL, you can see that it's still 15 to 7 favoring the bears. Again, the Ichimoku, you can see the price is actually below the Ichimoku in this case, which is a little bit concerning. And if you look at the some of the secondary indicators, you can see that we have even though it looks slightly bullish, but it looks like it wants to cross over. But you can see it's below the zero. It's below the zero mark, so that's definitely bearish. If you look at the DD actually became negative again. So it was somewhat, positive. Then again, it fell back to the bearish territory, which is also intensifying some of the things that we are seeing. So this is why, like I said, everything now is on full-on bearish signal. So you can see both the SPX, the NAS 100, and the US 30 are now on full bearish signals, which again is a little bit concerning. Now, after talking about this, I also want to talk about the crypto market real quick, so we can take a look at the crypto, take a look at Bitcoin. And you can see Bitcoin as of last week, I was looking at it, Bitcoin was 14 to 9 as of last week. So I had 14 sell or bearish signals to 9 buy signals or bullish signals. But as of today, I saw a switch. It went from 12 to 10, which means now we have 12 buy signals or 12 bullish signals with respect to 10 sell or bearish signals, which is very, very encouraging. So for those of us who saw the move that was made by Bitcoin today, if I was to scroll up and take a look at Bitcoin real quick, you can see that Bitcoin is Bitcoin went up about 2.6% today at one point. And again, you can see that the signals is what we are looking at. So if we're taking into consideration some of these signals, just like we did before, you can see we have the B sign and the green arrow indicating the direction to the upside. Again, if you come down to my spreadsheet, that's why we've marked both the ASGMA and the SSL. As a matter of fact, we need to take this one and move it to this side, because we see the green arrow and the B sign in this case, which is indicating some type of bullishness. You can see the Ichimoku, the Bitcoin is actually above the Ichimoku, which is good. So we've marked that as 1, and it's actually above the baseline on the daily. So you can see it's actually above one of my baseline on the daily, but not entirely above the two other ones that I typically look at. So we will go ahead and still mark this as 1, and we have the SMI that we always look at, and the SMI is this one right there. And you can see the SMI, we do see a crossover, which is the green is above the red, but it's actually in the bearish or negative territory, which is why I went ahead and marked this as 1 for the SMI 1 and this one for the SMI 2. So you can see we got a buy signal, and we also got a sell signal for the SMI. For the DD, for the Bitcoin, you can see for DD for Bitcoin, it's actually becoming positive, so which is good. So you can see the signal line is now on the positive side. So go ahead and mark that DD and give it a 1 for the positive side for Bitcoin. And also for the MACD interpretation, again, we are looking at the daily in this case. Again, the D represents daily and the W represents weekly. So for the MACD is the next one. And you can see for the MACD, we have, as you can see, it went from red to green. That is a buy, but we are also, still below the zero line on the negative side. So that is representing a bearish signal, which is why I have marked the Bitcoin and shared both, two signals for one. Again, the buy signal and a sell signal. The TSI, on the other hand, for Bitcoin, you can see it's still below the zero line on the negative side. So that is why I went ahead and marked it as a negative. And the ASH, if you look at this, is actually still showing the red above the green, which is showing me more of a bearish signal with respect to green above the red, which is going to be more of a buy or a bullish signal, which is why I went ahead and marked that as well as 1. But if you take a look at the at the weekly, you can see that with the weekly, what we see on the weekly is that we see a B sign and a red arrow, which is a combination of both. So what's going to happen is we're going to share both the ASGME and the SSL, one for the bullish and one for the bearish. The Ichimoku is above, the price is above the Ichimoku, so you get one. The price is above the baseline. Let me check it out real quick. You can see the price is above with this baseline and above this baseline. So we will give this a good pass mark for the baseline. The SMI 1 and 2 for Bitcoin. You can see this is the SMI. So you can see we see a bearish move, which is the green above the red, but it's on the positive side but above 0. So which is why I gave it a 1 and 1 for the sell and a 1 for the buy in this case, and the DD for the Bitcoin in this case. For the DD, it's actually you can see it's on the negative side, so that is definitely going to score us 1 for the negative side. So you guys get the gist. And by the time I did the total sum, I was getting 14 bullish signal with respect to 18 sell or bearish signal. So that's telling me that the Bitcoin is beginning to show some sign of strength to the upside. So today might actually be a good day for me to actually start buying some Bitcoin, as I think this could be a good sign of a reversal for the Bitcoin with respect to the market, which is showing the opposite, and we're seeing more intensified sell-off. Again, this is a very, very simple way for me to just kind of like look at the market, compare it, look at what my indicators are saying, do a top-down analysis from the weekly to the daily to understand when is a good time to enter into an instrument. And this gives me a more of a clear and precise way to actually trade the market, and that's what I'm going to be doing this year. And I'm going to continue to show you guys different things. Again, maybe tomorrow I might be talking about stocks and talking about commodities, metals, whatever the case might be. But one thing I also wanted to mention is that today we also need to pay attention to the economic data that is coming out today. If you go to where I normally look at my news, for those of you who are looking for a news website, the best one is to look for Forex Factory. But I was looking at today, the January the 2nd, we had the unemployment claims that came out. You know, like I said, the forecast was 222k and the previous one was 220. So we saw a reduction in number, which means only got 211,000 people claiming that they don't have jobs. So the economy is showing a sign of strength. But the problem with this is that good data is not necessarily good for the market right now. Why? Because the Feds are currently paying a lot of attention to this data, and they are taking their decision based on what they are seeing. So a strong economy is definitely going to allow the Feds to sit back a little bit and not cut the rate as fast as they want. And you know, an economy with a high rate or high interest rates is definitely also not good for the development of the economy, as people don't want to borrow money to develop anything because they don't want to pay that such amount in interest, which is why you see a lot of people not buying homes right now. So it's kind of like a situation where the Feds are caught between a rock and a hard place, and they're going to have to make some key decisions in 2025 to justify that not cutting the rate is actually good for the economy. But with that being said, I myself personally will continue to monitor things and looking at my indicators just to make sure that this is giving me the right information that I need to continue to make any potential move moving forward. Again, this is your boy Cincy, aka Mr. Good Vibes, and let's make some small money together, even if it's just a little. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that this page can reach out to other people who are interested in content like this. And thank you so much for doing so. All right, thank you. You guys have a good day, and see you next time.